What up, y'all? I make videos that are UberEats specific related, and I want to share my experience and my opinions on things that may help other drivers understand what we are doing, what we go through, and how to handle these situations. I really do appreciate everyone watching, and I also love feedback, and if you think that I could improve, please let me know. I'm more than happy to, check myself and see where I can improve, because I think that is the number one reason that I have this channel, is to have some sort of community and feedback back and forth. So that's really my purpose with this. And this job is kind of a hands-on learning type job, but I think that's why it's so important for us to share our experiences and what's probably best and what's probably not good, and to really discuss the important parts, like the areas of the job that you should put your energy into, whereas there's other parts of the job that you probably should put less energy into. And that's essentially what I've been trying to say for the last 2 videos. But that we all go into it with a certain idea of what is to come and how to handle these situations, because most people have ordered their own food and gone picked it up, and so it's not a new concept for most people. So we usually handle everybody's orders just the same way that we would have handled our own. We're just going to a different address and handing it to other people instead of eating it ourselves. And that's usually how I kind of see this job. I don't see it as anything else. But this isn't the same exact thing. This is a little different because it is other people's that are involved, and there's a lot of mechanisms that are involved, and it's not just like when you show up and the order's not ready, you just wait, forever for it to get finished, because this is a business and we gotta make money. So we have to handle these situations a little different. But I'm gonna show you the story, and you let me know what you think about it, okay? Where I went to a restaurant and they didn't have the order on the tablet, so they didn't even have the order to be made. It was a 3-minute pickup, so I don't know what happened there, a technology issue, but nonetheless. So when I showed up, I had picked up at this restaurant before, so I was familiar of where to go. And if not, they usually have those signs from the other apps, and you just go there. And so the employee at the window, he's kind of like a food runner type employee. He noticed me, and he's like, "Hey, what order are you here for?" And I said, "I'm here for an Uber Eats order." After I told the employee the name of the customer, and he looked around, he looked at where he was working at the window and the bar. The employee came over to me, and I had my phone, and he asked to see it, like what the order was and things like that. So I held it up, and he proceeded to kind of try to handle my phone. So I just told him no, and he told me that they didn't have the order, and all of that. And so I was like, well, I'm just gonna call Uber. And so I called Uber, and I was on the phone with Uber. The order did come through on the tablet. The guy, like I said, he's just kind of frantic. He told me, and I said thank you. And I told Uber support over the phone. And what ended up happening was the order was canceled because of the order not going through properly on the app. I don't inform him that the order got canceled because he's pretty frantic and stressed and kind of overworked look. And when I leave, that's going to be a signal that the order is no longer, or for him to even just check the tablet and see if it's still there. I did get a cancellation fee. I actually did get a ping immediately after, as soon as I got to my car, just to wait for that order to clear off of my app. And actually it was in the same strip center, and when I went to that restaurant, the order was already being tied up in the bag and ready to go. So this is just an example of what to do and how to stick to your responsibilities. At the time, I'm just trying to figure out how Uber wants to proceed with this delivery. It is not my job to decide that, and I don't spend time trying to figure that out, and I don't spend energy to figure that out as well. I call Uber. The people there, they have the ability to cancel and move on and all of this, right? So because what probably happened with 2020 was the order got canceled, the customer really wanted it, and then just tried ordering again. Okay, so that's probably most likely what happened. It probably was just a glitch. You know, technology is unreliable sometimes, and glitches and mistakes do happen, whether it's human error, whether it's algorithms or whatnot. So that's not something you should focus on. You shouldn't focus on how did this happen and why did this happen and let's fix that. No. My job, what I focus on is the delivery part. I don't focus on the restaurant part. I don't focus on how this will impact the restaurant or impact the workers at the restaurant. I don't think of it that deep. I think of it very surface, and doing it that way, I don't get too invested into any delivery, and I also don't get emotionally worked up and overspent on something that probably doesn't matter to the restaurant, Uber, or the customer. Because when something doesn't work out, there's always alternatives and stuff. So I don't think about it in the moment. I don't think about it too far ahead. What the restaurant would have preferred me to have happen is me hand over the phone, they handle the situation, and I'm just sitting there like a dummy when they're fixing all of this. And no, you got to stay in control of what you do. This is what I mean by being careful with how you handle yourself when you're working Uber Eats. Because they don't tell you all the information, and workers at restaurants, they try to like cover issues, problems, and they also don't want you to leave. They don't want drivers to cancel and leave and other drivers to show up, right? They don't like that. I don't really know why. I don't know if like they get dinged or whatnot, but they don't like drivers to cancel and move on. Don't worry about it. I'm going to call Uber. So that's what I do, and that's what I would recommend, is that if you ever run into this weird situation, is to call Uber. Important to remain composed and everything. And that's, like I said, is to focus on what you can fix. Focus on what is in your responsibility and your wheelhouse. And, when things are going on crazy, you just focus on your delivery, and that's it. Okay, so I'm going to worry too much about it. I'm going to just handle my business, and I'm going to go about it. And that's what I mean by focusing on your responsibilities. I would have preferred it to work out right. But it's not about my preferences or what I think should have happened or how I would have handled the situation, even though it is my business, because that isn't my business. That is not my business. My business is not how that person is going to get their lunch, or how this restaurant is running their business, or how Uber is, not sending the orders quick enough to the restaurants. Like, that's not part of my business. So things will work out. It's just, how do you handle the situation? If you agree on how I handle that situation, please let me know. If you think that things should have done, handled a little differently, or you disagree, please let me know. This is just how I handled the situation. And on top of it, when you're in the middle of it, like I said, you kind of have to go with the flow. Things are going really fast, and especially when you have an employee that is looking a little stressed, a little overworked, you don't want to be having conversations and slowing down his rhythm and backing him up. You really, that's not what I want to do to somebody like that at a restaurant. So I usually just step back and I just, tell them who I am, and then I just usually keep my courtesies. That's usually what I do. If it's a little slower, if they're not so, running around looking for things, trying to, handle everything, then I'll be more than happy to work a little bit, more on the delivery. but it was a pretty chaotic restaurant and experience. So that's how that happens. There's this particular story or problem that you run into and you want to know how I handled that situation in a past delivery, please let me know. I'm more than happy to bring out an arsenal of stories just to explain how I handled those situations and what I think. But I think I handled this one perfectly, and I got paid $3 for it, as well as my second delivery that was really shocked that it was that fast. I hope that this is helpful. I hope that you like the story times, and yeah, see ya.